What's going on, guys? So it's time to talk a little bit about OVERPRIME. Now, a lot of people ask me, they're like, why don't you make OVERPRIME content more frequently? And long story short, it's honestly just one of those games that whenever I queue up on NA East, I can never find a match. So I'm really excited for the game to actually come to Steam, which actually we do have some news. I'm going to show you some of the things that OVERPRIME has been working on just to kind of update you guys. But as far as update videos for OVERPRIME, I want it to be clear for those of you that don't understand. I am not going to make an OVERPRIME update video just because they release a picture of a new skin. You get me? Like, they got to give me a little bit more juice in order to provide an update, so to speak. But let's go ahead and talk about what they said to the community. Now, starting off, I'm going to read it here to you guys. They say, "We listened to the community and changed our plans. We want you to enjoy playing OVERPRIME as well, so we decided to keep the login server and matchmaking servers. But to take the next step, no patches will be made to the OVERPRIME client." So for those of you that don't know, OVERPRIME is in its, I guess you could say, final stages. They're actually trying to solidify the game, more of get it towards full release, going towards Steam and all that. Now, they mentioned on here that they were going to be hiring more people, start the development as a full-time job, and they're going to focus on plans, so you may expect more fast-paced development. Now, be mindful, I'm reading you a message real quick from 2 months ago just so you can kind of see, and then I'm going to skip to what they just posted here in the past week. Now, they're saying, "We're expecting many experienced developers and designers to make the team Souleve much bigger. We'll start developing in a new office, keep developers focused on developing the game." Now, I'm gonna fast forward now. Now, I like the fact that they tell us what they're planning on doing. They're planning on growing. They're planning on going to a new location, why they're planning on doing it. Shout out to Team Souleve because of that transparency. Now, moving forward, they say, we're finally back. We haven't updated the game in almost 2 months since we were working on switching to full-time. Moving offices, discussing the game's philosophy. Here I want to share what we did in between these 2 months and what we forecast to do. Again, kudos on that transparency. Now, they mentioned team building. They're now a 27-person team. That's a pretty big fucking team, actually. We hired professional developers for all areas, especially for developers from Epic Games, engine programmer, TA, client programmer. One of them has experience in developing Paragon, so they actually got somebody that used to be part of the original Paragon crew, which is kind of interesting. That's kind of cool, and honestly, I'd say it might be more of hopeful news for somebody that's really hoping for this project to shine. They mentioned we have 2 studios, one in South Korea and now another one in the UK. We plan to size up the team to 50 people. Keep an eye on us, what we'll achieve. So honestly, the fact that I like this news, actually. Not just the fact that they're planning on expanding the game, but they're planning on expanding their team. We haven't really heard much from other projects as far as the team. You get me? Like, we might have got a little announcement here and there, like, hey, we added this 1 person, or we added 2 people, but a massive expansion like that, and saying, hey, we now have two individual studios. We got one in the UK and we got one in South Korea. That's a whole nother level of company progression that I'm honestly kind of excited to see, and I'm honestly curious to see if that will actually render results that we're looking for. Now, they mention here also, you might agree that Paragon is behind trends with its 5-year history. True. So we want to develop not as it were, but a more advanced TPS MOBA, and I'm glad that they're saying this. I'm very happy. I'm actually excited to see what they were actually going to do and change to progress forward, because that was one of my concerns about OVERPRIME. The fact that they were just, it almost felt like they were focusing on replicating Paragon to the T as much as possible. But as time goes on, I was like, you know what? If Paragon didn't work, they got to do something different. Now, the fact that they're doing something different is exciting, quite frankly. Now, being mindful, Rocket Mania is part of that team. Rocket Mania has a little bit of experience creating his own characters, his own kits, his own abilities, the moves, etc. We've gotten a chance to play a lot of these characters in the past. So quite frankly, I'm excited to see what they bring new to the table to advance the TPS MOBA. Now, a couple things that they mentioned that they're going to work on is they're going to renew overall in-game systems. They're going to lower the learning curves, maybe some sort of tutorial or something like that, because they already do have a little practice menu, which is actually super, super cool. You can get in there, try stuff out, very, very simple and easy to use, but you don't necessarily get beat up while doing it. Now, they mentioned update low quality heroes to high quality heroes. Now, I'm not entirely sure if they mean the kit itself or maybe just some of the characters that, you know, they're kind of working on their own basis, maybe increase those, so to speak. Now, they mentioned also change skills more attached to the character. That might have to do with, you know, like a couple of the abilities before they were almost like disconnected, so to speak. Like you had some abilities at some point that actually came from the camera, not necessarily from the character. So maybe that's what they're talking about there. Renew the UI and UX for better convenience. That's awesome to hear. Renew the card system for better convenience. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't think that their item system was bad. Like, you know, it was very reminiscent of like old school, like both of Paragon, Monolith, and pre-V42. It was very reminiscent of those two kind of meshed together, but I didn't think it was bad. Now, they're saying they're going to renew the card system for better convenience. I'm quite interested to see what it's going to be, whether they're just gonna, you know, kind of tweak it a little bit or just kind of revamp the whole thing. They are planning on adding 2 new characters, frequent balancing for all the heroes. They're planning on starting marketing. Now, that's news, because from all these other companies, we haven't really heard anything as far as a marketing push. Now, considering they're publicly saying we're planning on starting our marketing, that means that they are pretty close to being on full release status, because that's usually what these games wait for. They wait until they're full release, and then they push the marketing hard. And then they're mentioning prepare for dedicated downloading server, improve on test server. So prepare for dedicated downloading server. Honestly, they already mentioned here a little bit about, like in the past, about different ways to, like that they've been improving on downloading the game, updating the game, etc. They've honestly come a long way from, let's just say like 6 months ago, where it was honestly, you know, halfway a nightmare to download. Now it honestly is quite easy. Just kind of click on the button, it installs and etc. It's very reminiscent of the old school CD days where you would pop the CD in, you'd have to click on the program, launch it, install it, etc. So it's pretty damn simple at this point, but there is still that, well, how do I say? There's still the concern within a lot of players as far as the legitimacy if it's not on one of the big actual, you know, launchers like Steam and stuff like that. So the fact that they're coming to Steam is very, very good news. They do honestly have a ton of potential. Hell, I mean, they had a ton of work and it was super fun to play back in the Overthrow days, now in the Overprime days. Still fun to play. It's just, it never really got past that player base issue, mainly because of the whole ease of access. Because you got a lot of people that, I don't know why, but instead of searching, you know, kind of booting up this game, searching for a match, they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna play some Rocket League or I'm gonna play some Minecraft. There's a lot of people out there that ease of access and playing with friends is always going to be a priority over, you know, playing a game that they might want to play, but they don't necessarily need to play. You get what I'm saying? And I think that's going to be one of the hardest obstacles to overcome here for Overprime. But they are working on it, and honestly, I can see them solving that issue in 2021 as soon as they come to Steam. Hopefully, if they come to Steam by 2021, these guys are gonna blow some people out of the water. Like, other people might have got complacent, you know, in being in their stature as far as these games and stuff like that, like, you know, how far in progression they are. But the fact that Overprime decided, hey, I'm gonna produce all of this content, not focus on the quality, and then they're like, stop it, let's focus now on the quality. I said it a while ago, kudos to them. I've been quiet as far as, you know, their progress, because in my opinion, they really didn't have much to actually update until this past week. But quite frankly, I'm excited for the news. Now, they mentioned Souleve will release the game on Steam and then PlayStation 5. That's a very clear indicator, very clear path, which again, kudos to Souleve. They say, hey, after it's on Steam, then we'll focus on PlayStation 5, which is smart. If you don't got a PlayStation 5 and you got a PlayStation 4, bro, you better search at this point. But they also mentioned we'll listen to the community with periodic updates. Thank you for playing OVERPRIME. We'll provide updates for those who have an account already. We deeply appreciate supporting us and playing the game. Now, they also did mention here today, Recommania actually made a quick little post just to let people know that, you know, first of all, Sarah Jog got made a moderator. For those of you that don't know, Sarah Jog was actually one of the original supporters back in the Overthrow days. Me and Sarah Jog used to play like crazy on Overthrow, and till this day, we still DM each other on the random, talking about OVERPRIME and this and that and whatnot. But they also mentioned, I'm sorry, they basically made Sarah Jog the moderator, like I was saying, so shout out Sarah Jog. But they also mentioned that some people can't make accounts on OVERPRIME. You know, there's a bit of an interest here for the New Year's. Some people are trying to create accounts and stuff like that. But they're mentioning it's not a bug. While the game is down, you can no longer create a new account for OVERPRIME. You genuinely have to wait till the game is fully released. The only individuals that still have access to the game are individuals that already had it before. So if you do want access to this new game, you are gonna have to be patient. You are gonna have to wait until they come to full release. That leads me to believe that it's coming rather soon. Now, it's been 2 months since they've been already working on this full release and kind of, you know, like slow stuff down. But as far as everything, I could honestly see them here probably, I mean, I don't know. I talked to Rocket a little bit. I probably see it here before summer, the release. I'm not 100% sure. That's just my speculation. But if that's the case, that's awesome to hear. I honestly can't wait. And as always, guys, till the next video.